Okay, everybody, welcome to the Express Technical Committee meeting for April 15th. We just went live on YouTube. We've got an agenda in the issue. I will post that in the chat. To get started, I just wanted to say we have this is a little bit of a repeat for I think most of the folks on the call because we talked about it last week, but I wanted to reiterate it. Here we've been running pretty loose previously as we were getting things organized, but we're going to try to be a little bit more formal going forward. So for these meetings, we're going to have an agenda. We're going to follow the agenda pretty strictly. If you have things you want to add to the agenda, make a comment in the issue in the future, ideally before the meeting starts, but we just posted it as we were starting the meeting this time. And then if you have a comment or want to say anything, just raise your hand and we'll whoever's running the meeting, which today I'll be doing, we'll call on you as we move forward in the agenda. So yeah, that's that. So we'll get started with some announcements. So I was hoping John would be here, but I think we can all just say we're excited to welcome John onto the TC. We did the informal, it wasn't a vote, but the informal call for action last time on the working session. And obviously we're all really thankful for John's awesome contribution. So that was an easy decision. So yeah, so congrats, John, on that. Ulysses, I think you had an announcement as well.
Oh yeah, I have a small announcement. Yeah, I just made a book published called Node.js for Beginners. It has been published with the Pact editorial. It's in pre-order right now. I talk about Express and many other topics, basically. So yeah, if you want to support my job on open source, or you are just curious about learning more about Node.js, it's available on Amazon and in the Pact website already.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Are there signed copies available?
Not yet, but yeah, probably in events and stuff like that, I plan to sign some of them. So yeah, don't worry, Chris, you will have your copy signed.
You could sell maybe for double the normal price with your signature on it.
Yeah, for some deliveries and so on. Yeah, I see a good market there. Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
Awesome. So okay, so moving on to the actual topics. So we're gonna first discuss doing a time change for this meeting. So I just wanted to preface, we did a doodle like a couple months ago now. This time was sort of generally picked as the most easily accessible for folks, but both this and the working session time slot are pretty late in the day for our European colleagues. So we were thinking we would try to pick an earlier one. I guess that means probably another doodle. Or do we think we can just use the previous doodle and just pick another, like one of the earlier times?
Maybe we can reduce the previous one and just double check with the people that the time's still fitting good for them.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Does anybody
Even
want to volunteer
an hour
for
or 2 hours early this time? It should be very good for Europeans, I guess, and US friendly.
So let me see if I have still the previous doodle available. So I think it was this link. Or maybe not. Not sure. I will try to find what was the best
I think
time.
it was. Yeah, this was.
This one? No, because like the most voted one is a Thursday.
Oh, maybe there are more additional votes. I think we just take in account the TC members on the time because there are a lot of non-TC members for that period.
Yeah, so maybe we can do another. I will try to find the other one, or we can do just another vote. Both are great.
I mean, assuming these are still correct for folks, we could just say, let's see. So I'm just looking. There is quite a few people in here, isn't there?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Yep.
If we just account for the existing TC members, again, it's nice if we can get a time that everybody else who wants to be able to come, who's not on the TC, is able to. But like ideally, we just want to make sure that it's better for,
Mostly for the TC.
yeah.
At least
Which
Yeah.
looks,
Right. The other thing I would suggest is, these times, this doodle has some times that are even later. So if like the goal is to have it at an earlier time, like don't even provide those options for the later times, and like, or if you want to have it on like a particular day, it's just a lot easier if you don't have like to pick from like 1,000 different time slots.
Yep.
But I realize there's a bit of a chicken and egg problem there because you're trying to find the one that works well for everybody. But
Yeah.
I think you could, if you want to say we want to have an EMEA friendly time, then that narrows it down quite a bit to start off at least.
so I think that let's just like keep it moving though. Does somebody want to volunteer to drive the scheduling for them? Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I will do it. I
Okay,
did the
perfect.
previous one, so I will do it.
And
this
if
one.
we don't need to do another doodle, that's obviously better.
Okay.
Yeah.
But whatever it takes, let's just get an earlier time.
So just
and
on
then
a quick
we have it.
question.
We just need to loop in Ben. To
So
make sure
do we have some people? I don't know where you are, Blake. Are you West Coast in the US? Yeah. Okay. So I have to think about -9 then. Okay. Oh, good. Thanks. Just to be sure.
Okay, cool. Anybody else have anything else on that time change idea? Okay, cool. So moving on, we just wanted to quickly talk about release plans here. So we have the Blake, your PR queued up. John commented in there that he wants to do a release. He'll do the release. So we were hoping to work through that. I saw a PR this morning for updating QS in body parser. I just wanted to call out to anybody, if you all have any other things that need to be released, we should just try to do it, get them all merged up probably before we do cut that. So if anybody does anybody have any other PRs that seem timely or need to land?
Not timely or need to land, but there's a path to regex update to 0.1 that someone wanted. So yeah, first time in 10 years or whatever.
I was gonna say it's been a while for that. Woo. Yeah, if you want to land it, let's do it.
Okay, I can open that.
Okay, and then I'll work with John when he's available to. I think it should be documented and it should be fine. But I think I have to add NPM permissions still for John, so I haven't done that yet. So he'll need that. But I think other than that, he should be good to go, mostly with just like the PR process that Ulysses followed, and we can just, I think he knows what he's doing, so we don't, I think, need to do much formality there. But it would be is the thing that you want to land, I guess it's got to be a minor, right? It can't be a patch. Your existing PR, Blake, is kind of ambiguous on whether it should be a minor or a patch, right? So
yeah. I mean, it may break someone. I would do it as a minor.
Okay, cool. So then, then the process is to open the PR with the changes. Okay, cool. Do we have anything else that we want to talk about for the release? And we're not going to do, just to be clear, we're not doing a V5 beta for anything here, just to be clear, in case that was still a question in anybody's mind. Okay. Cool. Then if we're good on that, we can move on to the LTS strategy next steps update. John? You're muted.
Thank you. So yeah, we discussed that during the last meeting. So let's say the global goal for everyone was to only use V18 and above, and basically when we cut a version for every major, we'll support every available Node.js version, I will rewrite with Igor, I think it's Igor, Keyboard Toad, a pull request to put that into account. Didn't have time during the last few days. So that's the main idea, to be able to drive that and to have everyone like look at it. But the main idea would be that we would keep between 2 and most of the time, I guess it will be 3 Node.js version parts of every release, something close to that. And it will also include everything from how long we, let's say, pledge to maintain every major version, at least a minimal version. So should be 1 year of being officially RLTS and 1 more year of support, between 6 months and a year. So yeah. And I think I will also include a specific paragraph for V4 that is a bit special there. So I think it would make sense to add the specific addendum for the V4, yeah.
Cool. So we'll just look out for that PR when Igor is able to either move it over or if he just wants you to do it. Okay, sweet. Anybody else have anything to discuss on the LTS strategy stuff? Nope. Okay, moving on then. Triage team, Ulysses.
Yep. Yeah, let me see also the issue on the chat because there were some like ideas. Well, actually the comment. Yeah, basically the idea is we have the triage team for a very long time. Actually, some of the TC members started on the triage teams, like myself or Jean. So yeah, basically the idea of this initiative is like to revive the team. Currently, there are a lot of members on the triage teams that seems not very active. As well, I think there is not a lot of guide on what is expected from them to do and so on. So the idea was like try to clean a little bit the team in terms of, let's see who is active or not. So we can just keep the active people. The idea also is I was thinking like to make this team something like a good starting point to like really getting to be a collaborator and later on captain and later on this member and so on. So like progress in the organization and progress in the abilities and the skills and so on. So the idea is also to have a captain acting like a kind of a mentor. So the idea is like maybe having a Slack channel or just using the Express channel or whatever, just to guide them, to easy, issues, help wanted ones, and so on, and provide like more specific support to the group. So they just make them grow basically. There are some cases that they have been a lot of positive feedback from some current TC members to join to the organization. So my idea is also to allow those two pull requests to join in and also to join the 2 new people there. And basically, also the idea will be mostly to organize the new triage team to just close as much as issues and pull requests and so on that they're open. Some of those are open for years, so there are different. So maybe we need to define some policies and strategies together, but the idea is to do that with the team. So basically, the captains and the TC members can focus most on, the current initiative that we have rather than still fixing and so on issues and PRs that are open for years. Basically, that's the idea. I'm not very sure 100% how to articulate that. If just asking the question here, if anyone is willing to be this mentor. Oh, Wes, congratulations.
Okay.
I was fast. Sorry.
I knew if raising my hand right after you said that would be okay. So I cannot yet commit to doing that. Just to be clear, I was not raising my hand to volunteer right away for that. But I did start this with Jerash back in the day. So I just wanted to share a little bit of my take on setting it up. So I think that you brought up a bunch of really good points in the issue you just linked there. I think we should definitely just act on all of those. I think they all seem pretty straightforward. The goal of that program is, as you said, like the easy onboarding. So one of the reasons why it was a little bit more open in the past and has accumulated, inactive members was because we wanted it to be, very open. Now, where the project was when we started that is, I think, quite a bit different than it is today. We got a lot more help requests on the issue tracker back then, like a lot more. Like I've followed most of the things again, and it's nowhere near what it used to be. That's a good thing in a lot of ways, but probably is also a bad thing. I'm guessing it's probably a bad indicator, like a leading indicator, either of the fact that the project hasn't moved very fast for so long, or something like that. So I think if we revive the triage team, I think giving a really clear charter, like you said, is I think what we really we should do. Like if that is close out stale issues and PRs, that's great. I think another thing I would really like to see. So one of the goals is to free up time, but you don't free up time unless that, like us, the folks who are, on this call, actually stop doing that job. So the current triage team has all the same access as they used to, but are quite inactive. And so I find, like, if you actually look at like the spam PRs, for example, it's like Ulysses, you, myself, closing and locking them mostly. I mean, a few people do, a few others, but like I think primarily it's been us. So if we're going to do that, we need to stop closing and locking those. I know that the triage team won't be able to lock them, but because it doesn't save us any time unless we actually don't look at those ones, which means that we either need to be not following everything, because otherwise you're just going to do it. There's no point in opening the issue, seeing that it's a spam PR, and not just closing it immediately, right? Like, so we probably need some other policy or recommendation for the triage team where maybe we can start not following every activity on all the repos and can just rely on the triage team raising them to us. That's going to take some trust building, I think, and making sure these folks know, when to raise and how and that. But I think that should be, it's easily possible. So we should, like, maybe there's a label that we should define that the triage team can add that says, like, hey, I'd like somebody to look at this. And then we can go look, at them at our leisure. Something to that to actually make it so that they are frontlining the triage and support. And then I think there was one other thing that I was thinking of for this with the proposed changes, but I can't remember what it is right now, so I'll cede the floor if anybody has any comments on that.
I have a comment then. So yeah, basically, I think we can just lead the captain for the initiative to be the person who actually tracks, let's say, more or less everything what's going on, and try to start delegating in the triage. So for example, if we have this kind of spam pull request, which is a very common, we just hold it, like hold the button, and just try to say, like, yes, there is anyone available to just close this one, and so on. And if nothing happening, just let's say like a few hours, before it gets start spammy, just we act on, the captain act on behalf, and that's it. So as a kind of ongoing training and stuff like that. And obviously something happened or we need to change a criteria or whatever, then the idea is that captain also will bring the discussion up to the TC level, other captains and so on. So the idea is that person will be like the hub between what currently happened and transitioning to the triage team. So more or less the criteria and so on is going to be very similar as we have today. And the idea is just, let them start grow and feel confident on the role. But a super good point.
So that still leaves us here with, we need a volunteer or somebody who wants to help lead that effort, right? That's the okay. So we can just call out and see if anybody volunteers in the issues.
If nobody wants to step ahead on this, I'm happy to start leading the initiative for now, and let's see if in the future anybody want to take a change on this and lead it after.
Okay, if you don't mind leading that, I'm happy. I will follow along and I will try to help with the any mentorship or coaching with people. But until we cut V5, I'm not signing up for anything else. Okay, cool. Did anybody else have any other triage related things? Do we need to purge the group, right? We probably need to purge
Yep.
Like we probably need to go through and like ping all the inactive members. Okay. Yeah, Jean?
Yeah, you're talking about purging and removing people inactive from the group. Do we have other group or other part where there is still some setup to do, like NPM or stuff like that?
There is some of that, but it is not specifically related to the triage side.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So to be clear, like for example, John is not set up yet in NPM. I think there's still a bunch of groups that are sort of set up but not populated.
Yep.
So yeah, so we do have to get into that. But everybody on the TC should have the rights on all the things to be able to do it themselves. So if any of you want to go in and populate the NPM side, if you don't have it, let me know because I can add.
Okay.
I think I can add you. I don't know. I haven't added John yet, so I'll have to try that for the first time. But I think Jordan maybe added Jean and Ulysses, right? I think he added you too. So anyway,
Yeah, I think I'm partially in some of them, but yeah, we can recheck that when
Yeah,
John
I know
is
I'm part.
doing the boarding.
Yeah, I know I'm part of the Express. I'm not sure for every other organization, but I have to check. Yeah.
okay. And look, we don't need them until we actually need to publish something. So like, if you need to publish something, just say, hey, I think we're missing that, and I can add you very quickly. I think it's pretty easy. I set up Blake with a few, like just as we were publishing one of the last things. So it takes only a couple seconds. So if you need it, just say something. Okay, I think that's it for that. So if any Ulysses, are you able to, do you want to volunteer then to open the issue to say we're going to purge?
Yeah,
I
I'm
think we just
volunteer.
tag the
I'm
triage
going to
in it
list.
and say, hey,
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to list them and I say like, yeah, if you reply to this issue with okay, want to stay, you will remain in like in a week or something, we just remove. And also I will add the new one. So basically I will ask them also, just in case they want to still be there or not. And then we just move ahead basically. Like 1 week, I think it's time enough for that.
yeah, totally. And that's what I did with the folks who had, were either on the TC list who weren't active or did I think a few people even had admin on the org that I purged out after a week or so of pinging them and then nobody responded. So it seems to not have caused any fires. I think we're safe. Okay. Anybody else have any triage team stuff or we'll move on to the security audit? Okay. Ulysses.
Oh, yeah, security audit. So basically the news are next week we are going to have a working session with the auditors, basically on the spot that we have on Wednesdays. And yeah, it's not going to be streamed on YouTube for now, but yeah, basically we have that step. So probably it's limited to the TC members and security triage team, basically.
So yeah, if anybody who is on one of those groups is around and can help, we'll be learning, I think, from them what the plan is, and then they're gonna start, actually doing the audit. So if you're, and for any folks watching this on YouTube, if you're interested in that kind of work, that's a pretty trusted group. So if you're not yet involved in some of those efforts, it might be a little bit of a wait and see and start participating for a bit before we pull you in. But we hope to have a good group of security triagers going forward to help with that type of work. So if you're interested, come not next week because that's going to be a private session, but in the future, please come and check out what we're doing. There's lots of important work to do there. So.
Yeah, we plan also to outsource as much as possible that can be public. Like we are not going to make public at the beginning, like of course, like CPE ongoing and stuff like that. But whatever we can make public and easy for pull requests and so on, we'll map it out on the security working group repository. So probably there are going to be plenty of please help us issues and so on, so you can get familiar with the team and so on, even if you are not part of the triage, but you can start to get involved easily.
Awesome. That is the end of our official agenda. We are way ahead of schedule, which has never happened before. So I think this more formal agenda is working. So I guess my question for folks is, what do you want to do? Do you want to fill the rest of the time, or do we want to end early?
Like, do we have a specific topic that we want to discuss in public or private also?
I
Go
have
ahead.
a small thing. In the last Wednesday, as we have been discussing about these processes of better arranging the meeting, which seems like to be a much better effective way of doing things. One thing that I was wondering is like, for example, we thought of this idea like Monday is going to be like public streaming meetings and so on, and Wednesday depends on the content, can be streaming or not, but the idea is like more working focus on one topic. So we discussed to potentially next meeting one is for the security next week, and then potentially working about the website and potentially working about the founding. So the idea is how we should, I mean, the big question is like, what is the process or recommendations for preparing those meetings ahead? So when we actually go to the working session, we have more or less the research done and so on, and we make the most effective.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the way we've done like Jean and the next 10 group on Node do this kind of thing is like deep dives is what they structure them as. Do you find, John, do you find that works? Have you thought of anything that would work better? Like, I think in that case, you just post the thing and say, hey, this is what we're planning for the next session. Attend if you want.
Yeah, basically that's it. Quite simple, like not a lot of things to do. Yeah, no, there's not a lot of specific stuff like you said, opening an issue or a pull request if it's needed for a pull request, but that's all. So yeah, could be great. Maybe yeah. No, I think we also discussed a bit last time, and it's not like it's partially linked. Do we want to try to find out if we can even put a HackMD or I don't remember the name of the stuff part.
That
Like
it's in the. Oh,
even
sorry.
if it's not automatic, even if it's not automatic, one of the could just create a Google Doc somewhere every week. Like it takes 5 minutes, copy paste a default one and grant access to everyone, or just put the link on an issue. Like even if it's not automatic, it's 5 minutes could be done, not an issue. And that way people can already add content or context before or specific part of the like almost pre-read before the conversation.
Yeah, that would be great. So the HackMD thing, I think it's just a setting in the little bot. So if we went that route, it would be automatic, which would be fairly nice. And I think if I recall correctly, it could even have a template, but I could be wrong on that. It's been a long time since I've looked at that. But even if we don't have that, I think we don't even need a new issue. We have a meeting agenda. The meeting agenda issue is created automatically. I think if people just want to use that and just post in there and say, this one should be for the website. I think that's a perfectly good way. We just like, for example, I said I was supposed to create the agenda for this meeting and I did it when I joined the call. So like we should be a little bit more proactive about that. But that's, I think we don't need like much process, I don't think, right? So
But we should definitely like create an issue, right, for the topic itself. Like for example, for founding, so we create like a new issue in the discussions and like deep dive on this on founding, and then like put everything whatever you want here. So that's going to be the kickoff context for that meeting when we decide whenever it's going to be, right?
Right, true. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So there is we can use a label. So right now the working session is using the top priority label.
Yep.
Just because that was one that was pre-existing and seemed to be fine. We can change that and we could use a working session agenda label, kind of like the TC agenda label that exists but is not used yet, which is why this one didn't have one. But for like example, I think all of our deep dive topics already have issues. There are multiple funding related issues. Rand has the one about the website, and we have an issue for the security audit. So I think we should just use the ones that are pre-existing. Ideally, I mean, unless other folks disagree, but we don't need more issues just for the sake of issues. So
yeah, reuse as much as we can, or just close if they are many repetitive and create a new one to just concentrate the conversation. But yeah, that's clear. Okay.
Yeah, and there is definitely, so I have a very old funding one. To be honest, we might want to close it and make a new one only because that conversation is at least 4 years old now. And I don't know if it's applicable. But one way or the other, yeah, I think so then we would just do we like using the top priority label? Is that an effective way, or should we make a separate label? I don't know if it matters.
I think doesn't matter a lot because we can always edit manually the invitation. I mean the issue of the meeting. So yeah, we can save some time and use it for other things.
Okay, perfect. Then I think the bot creates it about a week in advance. Should we make that longer so that we have time for folks to be aware of it? Does it matter?
I think 1 week should be fine because longer than that might be misleading. If you don't remember, you're in the current week or next week or so on. So that way, I think it's easier.
Okay, cool. Then no changes necessary. Oh well, the label, at some point we might want to change, but we can. So no changes for now. But I'll edit as soon as that one's made. I think it's a week advance, so it'll be on Wednesday. That one will be made. I'll go in and edit it and make it sure that it's clear that this is a private one and that it's for the security and topic. Okay. Any other ad hoc agenda items folks want to talk about, or are we wrapping up? Okay. Sounds like we're good. I did want to call out Ryan, if you want to introduce yourself. Welcome. We're would love to hear about you. If you feel like it, you don't have to. I mean, we are recording and live on YouTube, so we can all also stop that if you're not comfortable. But
on camera, I appreciate you having me. I'm representing Cargurus. We've recently joined as a silver level partnership with OpenJS. So I've been sort of trying to sit in on as many meetings as possible, just sort of listening to what's been going on. This open source, lots of the projects driven here have been a major part of my career and life for the many years. So I'm looking to give back wherever I can, and happy to join in and help out wherever possible.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Nice to meet you. And yeah, you're welcome to come on. Obviously, if you want to come to next week's security thing, that's you got a little bit of work to do.
Either way, it does not matter. There was a small point during today's meeting where I was like, snap. Did I jump on this? Should I be on the stream and not be on here? But regardless, I appreciate you all having me.
Oh yeah, you are welcome on here. Anybody is welcome to join these. We're a group of volunteers, and we need folks like you who are interested in helping out to keep this project going. Actually, I shouldn't even say keep, to get this project back to a healthy state. That is what we're working on now, and we need folks who are able and willing to do the work. And so anybody who's never even come into the project and wants to join the TC, or if you are also very welcome to add agenda items. If you had things you wanted to talk about, that is perfectly acceptable. So yeah, you're welcome here anytime.
Thanks again.
Awesome. Well, then we'll call it here, I guess. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you in the issues.